All right. Hello, everyone. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, and we are here with Jeet Kune Do Dialogues, episode number 7 with Kenny Barry. I am pretty sure Kenny's online. I sent him the request. He just has to acknowledge that request, and we will get started. So, as we're doing this, Carlos is here. I can't wait for Carlos to get back to Miami so we can do another show from our office in South Miami, where he gets to moderate and I get to relax and not be in charge of things. Okay, let me just make sure that hey, Sean Foon is on here. Just waiting. Hello, Mr. Coffee. Mr. Rourke. Just waiting to see Mr. Barry's name pop up and we'll get going. Whoops. Yep, everything's going well, guys. I'm just waiting for Kenny Barry to come online. And Carlos is my witness. We ran the technology test and everything went well. So this is going to be. I mean, all my dialogue episodes are interesting, but I think there are some unique aspects to talking to Kenny Barry that you guys will see in just a second. All right. Yes, Michael. Yeah, Kenny and I are gonna as soon as I get him online, he and I are gonna jump right into it. So all of this is just a preamble. Carlos, I think I know you're not a perfectionist like I am. Well, you are in your own way, but all of this preamble that goes on before the guest for the dialogue show gets online, I think I'll take the live version down, edit out the preamble, and then repost it on. Okay, so Kenny's here. I should be able to. Okay. But Kenny, you haven't done anything with the invitation. I think there might be something you have to click, or I'll have to request it again. Mr. Wilson, how are you? All right, guys, just hang with us for a second here. Oh, okay. All right, Carlos, I see what you're saying. Okay, guys, hang on. Just hang tough there for a second. Kenny, can you check again, see what happened? Okay, now we're cooking.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Like good things
Okay.
sometimes. You look great, Seafood White.
Thank you, sir. This is how it's supposed to work. You see? All
Uh,
right. Are you good with volume and that kind of stuff?
yeah, I'm fine. How about yourself?
Okay. Yeah. I think I got you now. Um, we last night in my class we discovered that I had the ringer off of my phone, which is why I never answer it when people call, but I'm still getting the hang of it. Anyhow, okay, so let's have an official start. So, hello everyone, this is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel. Welcome to today's show, episode number 7 of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues. My guest today is someone that I've known since the old days, even though he looks exactly the same, right? All right. Whereas the rest of us are looking like old farts. I'm talking about Kenny Barry of Jacksonville, Florida, where last weekend we had this huge old-timer type reunion seminar with Dan Inosanto.
It was great.
Right?
It was great.
Yeah. I don't know how many of you who are on here are aware of the fact. I certainly wasn't until I think it was probably my first time in Jacksonville, that there's quite, Kenny, the Filipino population in Jacksonville.
Oh
right?
yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of them. A lot of us Filipinos there.
And that's because of the naval base?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Mayport,
all right.
Mayport Naval.
Okay. All right, so that's my official introduction, everybody, to Kenny Barry. So let's get this started. You were here in Miami. You say it's 91 to 92.
Well, the 91 I visited, but then 93 I wound up staying for college, for the seminary college.
Okay.
So I visited and just happened to stumble into your dojo, your school, when Guru Dan was there. So that was like the first, and everyone was so nice, because my little brother was so involved in boxing, and I did a little bit of it, and I was used to that atmosphere. And when I went to your place, I saw like you, Ricky, Amador, Chip, pardon, my names might be, and everyone was like so friendly, and it was such a different vibe. And then I didn't even realize that Dan Inosanto was at your school teaching that weekend at the, and I didn't even want to go to that retreat. There was like a retreat, and I didn't go to it at the seminary that was real close to your school at the time in Kendall.
Right. So you ended up by accident the weekend that Inosanto was there?
Yeah, and I didn't even want to go to it. My mom was like, you gotta go, it's for the church. So I went.
Oh. Okay. So so the seminary thing, that's not where you ended up. So I guess religion's loss was martial arts gain, I guess.
Yeah, that's well said. Yes. Yeah, well put.
Well, okay, so for a lot of people, religion is a touchy thing, but not for us. What is it?
Because you know what? I'm glad you said that. I think because as martial artists, we're used to being in a lot of uncomfortable positions. Like you're always getting called up from Guru Dan, and sometimes he just says, "Hey, Dwight, do this," and so you're always in like a little bit of an uncomfortable situation. So I think for martial artists, talking about uncomfortable things like religion and things isn't really that hard for us, because we can kind of like move, and we're used to being uncomfortable.
What is it initially then, if you can remember that far, what that drew you to religion? I mean, to even attend seminary?
Well, one was a scholarship. I had a scholarship to that. It's St. John Academy, and actually the school itself was a great place. It's in Kendall, 88. Not too far from your place, because I could.
All right.
It was like there was a pet supermarket there or something.
Yeah. Actually, that's what we refer to that location as. We call it the pet supermarket school.
Oh.
Right. Yeah, because the second location is also on Kendall Drive.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Okay, so I'll tell you my religion story, right? Because I grew up in Barbados in the Anglican Church.
Yeah, they're very similar. Very, very, very similar.
Exactly. Right. So I have 2 brothers. So my mom has 3 sons, and she would tell me as I'm growing up that she has always prayed to God that one of her sons would be a priest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I could as well be Jewish or Catholic with my guilt. So I'm like, oh, it's gonna be me. It's gonna be me. So so years later, I realized, and she and I actually had a conversation about it. It was me. It just wasn't in the traditional religious role.
Ah,
Because if you look,
right.
you see what I'm saying?
Right. The
Look at
spirit.
look at what a martial arts instructor does, and compare and contrast that to what a priest does, and I think there's a lot of similarities.
A lot. More than you would think if you were when you're inside that. But yes, yeah, there is a
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a lot. Because they come to you for everything.
Exactly, right? So after Miami, you relocated to Tampa, was it? Because I remember your being in Tampa when we would go up to Luis Martinez in a seminar.
I missed that guy. And actually, you were the one that linked me up with him, and then that was only for a small period of time because I was there for like maybe a year, and then wound up in Jacksonville because I went to finish college in Jacksonville, so it was Tampa for that 1 year, and then I was in Jacksonville, but I kept in contact with Luis. With Luis Martinez.
So where are you actually from? Jacksonville or Tampa,
Tampa,
or where?
Yeah, Tampa. I just had a lot of Filipino relatives in Jacksonville, so kind of like cousins and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Now you mentioned a lot of relatives and what have you. So I don't remember. I call them the Virginia Pinoys. Right.
Like Mateo and all those guys.
Right.
They're great.
Yeah.
They're great people.
Okay. So here, I'll call the names and Chris Russell.
Yes.
Chris Regodon.
Yes.
Mateo de los Reyes.
Yeah. He's the senior. He's the senior instructor.
Okay.
Mateo.
Now Will Bernales is not one of the Virginia Pinoys, right?
He was, and then he relocated.
He was, right? See, I thought so.
Yeah, he was.
Okay. But now what I don't remember is when I first saw them, because they were, let me tell you, they were a scary looking bunch, right?
Well, they ride deep, they travel together.
Because here I remember them walking into the Francis Fong seminar with Frank Cucci.
Oh yeah, they were with him. Okay, right.
Right, and that might have been '93. But were they ever in Jacksonville for an Inosanto seminar?
They may have been, but they were they wound up in Jacksonville often. But that as we got older, and then the kids, the group started having kids and whatnot. So at that time, we would travel to each other's places because of being Pinoy. We always would.
Well, I mean, I had that experience when I got off the plane. When Frank Cucci had Inosanto there, and I went up to Virginia, and I stepped off the plane, and I swear to you, Kenny, it's only Filipinos at the airport. In seriously.
Oh, in Virginia.
Yeah.
That's another Navy town. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So, all right. So it was Tampa for a little bit, and then Jacksonville. So now, track for me your Jeet Kune Do path. So now you're back in Jacksonville for college.
Oh, okay. So, right.
What happened?
It was college, and then I was in Atlanta. I think I was with my kid brother at the time. Because it's hard, and this. When you jump to go to seminars, it's hard to have a travel companion.
I know.
As that, because I would see you at like every weekend because you would travel every weekend to train with Guru, and it's hard to have someone to go with you all the time. And I think it was Kevin at that time. And then anyway, I met Lee Peacock in Atlanta.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And we were both. No, I met him in Atlanta. Which was odd. I met him in Atlanta,
funny.
and we. I didn't meet him in Jacksonville.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's how you got started.
Right. Well, I mean, the very, very start was obviously with you,
Right.
Ricky Lazo's father, Grandmaster Lazo, who passed.
Fred Lazo.
Yes, he knew you from some. I forgot how that, but I had trained with him for just a little bit, but I never really
Okay.
pursued it. That was
Fred,
still
Fred Lazo I may have met in Naples at maybe the Bosayok seminar or something.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
You,
sure, but he spoke highly of you.
we just have too much history, Kenny. You know, we we just been around for so long, doing so much stuff over this period of time. I mean, not like the LA guys, but the LA guys, they stay in LA.
Well, yeah, because I think things can come to them.
Exactly.
To where we had to like. I mean, there was a time there where we, gosh, I was with Guru. I was talking to someone at the Inosanto Academy, and they said, "You got more training time with Guru than I do," and he was at the Inosanto Academy.
Yeah.
I was and that's why you were there all the time, and that's how I remained so close to you, because after Miami, after you got me linked up with Inosanto, you were always you were everywhere. You were like in Virginia. Gosh, one time I saw you in Oklahoma, I think. And like,
yep.
I would see you in these. I was like, what's Seafood doing in Oklahoma?
Yep. Maribel and I went to Wilbur Alice's place in Utah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So last weekend when he called up that couple that he says, he's seen them. Remember? Were you there?
Yeah.
Right. Right. I thought, yeah, okay, join the club. All right. So okay. So now, all right. So I'm doing research on you for today's program, right? And I'm trying to find a website for World Martial Arts Jacksonville.
It's defunct. There's that school. That school is man, you probably can relate to this. When you have you got this, like the stars and the moon, they all kind of align, and you got the perfect staff, and like everything like clicking, everyone that walks through the door signing up, and everything's like perfect. Yeah. And gosh, you got to cherish those moments. And then like one of those, and you're growing. And then what I didn't realize is I was actually training all of my competition. Like I did all the competition, I developed it myself. Like
yes,
I developed all my.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
and now being older, I was like, more power to those guys. I'm happy for them.
Right.
But I wound up training my own. But so it was, and then you could probably relate to this too. When the hits come, they just keep on coming, like divorce, health, and they go ba 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 ba, and you could go from like way up here to way down, like in handling that. So probably when those things happen, I don't handle them very well. I become very introverted. Okay. Whatever, and then that's on me. But right. But there is still a group of guys there that are they're still linked with Darwin with the Thai boxing, but then but see, now I'm in Tampa. But I still have a group in Jacksonville that these guys this group from Jacksonville comes all the way from Jacksonville to Tampa to train with me. It's a small group, but but they're wonderful. So
yeah, okay. All right, so tell us something about I call it your fun-filled life with Eric Paulson.
Oh, the Eric Paulson days. Those are. I think Eric Paulson calls it like the top 10 list.
Stay close to the microphone because everybody's going to want to hear these stories.
Oh, the Eric Paulson stories. Oh, the computer might explode. The computer might explode. Well, so for a while there, and I guess the group that is doing Eric's association now is awesome. I mean, with of course Tanya Paulson and Alan Baker, and that group
Right.
just
Because because in the early days you ran kind of like the CSW website,
yes, yeah,
right?
for a few
And
years I did. Yeah, for a few years
yeah,
I did, and that was probably like probably was not meant to be because how
yeah,
can you say no to your one of your mentors? Eric
right.
was my mentor. We're like we're all you become real close because we're
Hmm.
and so but it was fun. It was really fun.
Okay.
I think Simo Lavon did it for a while. Um,
Yeah,
and then I did, but the group now is doing really good. I got my hats off to them. They're doing a great
yeah,
job.
yeah. I've seen. I mean, but they have a handle, especially Bob Burgie. They
Yeah,
really have a
Bob's
handle
awesome.
on technology, right?
He's really up to par with that. Like Bob
Yeah.
Berkey has like a bat cave with all these uh, probably every Apple product ever invented. He's got these things. Should be a spokesperson for Apple. He's got all these
Yeah.
Apple devices, and but he's really talented with the web design and the video editing. He's really good. So
Right. And, but are you still a CSW representative
I still,
there in Tampa?
you know what? I'm not a rep anymore, but I'm still part of the organization through Eric.
Okay.
I'm still a
Okay.
student. I'll always be a student to
You're
Eric. I'll
right.
always, I will always hold that very special
Yeah.
that I had such a great teacher that close to me, like
Right.
right there.
Now, when it comes to let's talk Inosanto and Bruce Lee, right?
I love it.
Would you say that you are more Inosanto influenced when it comes to JKD than you are Bruce Lee influenced?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah,
For
100%.
sure.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Because see, I have this theory, right? But like many of my theories, it's unfounded. But I think that the Filipino experience, even though it is an Asian experience, I don't think there seems to be some unique aspect to it, but I can't really put my finger on it. But it's not the same thing as Japanese Americans, right? Even though it might be from the same era. I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I just feel like there's
I
something.
kind of got a grasp of I kind of see
Yeah,
what you're trying.
but that might be. I might have that feeling because I myself am, particular to the Filipino experience, right? Having devoted so much of my life to the art. But I was just wondering if what I just expressed was something that Filipino Americans could put their fingers on.
I I see what because it's a little bit different. Filipinos can because we can blend in a lot easier than I think some. And not that it's wrong not to or anything like that, but
Yeah.
some cultures have a harder time blending in with other cultures. It takes them longer.
Hmm.
For Filipinos, I think it's fairly easy to just adapt to
Okay.
wherever. That's why you see like a lot of Filipinos around the world in different places, and they're happy and they're fine there.
So the martial artists of our era, and the Filipino martial artists of our era, everybody knows Dan Inosanto. Is that knowledge of him? Does it exist in the younger generations too,
You know what it
or are they just taught hip hop?
because when I go to like Filipino gatherings and stuff, it's
Yeah.
he's still well known with the older crowd, with the young, because I have cousins that now have kids, and
Right.
they I think they kind of know him because their cousin Kenny trains under him, but I mean as a
Hmm.
whole probably not. But like the older generation, uh,
Yeah.
like my generation, the mid 40s to mid 50s, that that group he still has a strong name
Yeah.
amongst that group.
Okay, so now cast your mind back over all these years. If I ask you the question, what's a big influence? I won't ask you for the biggest or the greatest influence, but what's a big influence that he's had on you? And I didn't give you any time to prepare an answer.
Oh,
What would
oh,
you come up with?
with Dan and Asano was definitely
Yeah.
to be more open-minded and not judgmental. Not judgmental. I mean, I know he's like the kind of guy we all want to be like. Dan and Asano, right? There's traits of his character,
Yeah.
and it's hard to find any like flaws, because especially you've been around him so much. So have I. I mean, you've had a lot of intimate time with him, and it's just
As
like,
a matter of fact, last Sunday I got to spend 2 hours at the airport with him.
oh, that's awesome. See, that's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. And he's just able to hold it together so well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I don't know anybody that, I mean, he's the real deal. He walks the walk and he talks the talk.
Mm-hmm.
So but as far as influence, I remember one time we were at an instructor's conference in LA, and one of the guys got this book, and I forgot the name of the book. It was a girl wrote the book about the right lead or something like that. And there was like, they devoted all the time in the book to like dogging Guru. And and then someone goes, and I don't know why he did this. He goes, "Hey Guru, read this," and he highlighted all this stuff. And I was like, "Why are you taking it to him to read it?" So Guru reads it, and it's just basically this book that's dogging him, and he reads it, and Seafood, he reads all this stuff, and it's all this stuff printed that's not true, but it's negative about him. And he reads it, and he goes, "Goodness gracious, these people are really brave." He compliments them. He complimented them.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Goodness gracious, these guys are really brave. Wow, they wrote such." And you're like, who could do that? Read all that and say, and then give them a compliment.
Yeah.
So it's things like that, because being open-minded, not to be judgmental, all those, and that's what ties in with like spirituality. And he's just like the living example of it, of being so always seeing the glass half full.
Do you have any Bruce Lee influence at all in your?
Yes, but it goes directly back to Guru Dan. When we were kids, when me and Kevin were young, my cousin Walter, who's in Hollywood now, he's supposed to be linking up with Deanna, but Walter Boholtz would play that Game of Death nunchuck scene on those little beta tapes over and over and over and over again, and he would like watch the people in the back, because they were just like making up stuff, the background fighters, and in the different fight scenes, and he would watch that over and over again. And I remember him saying, "Yeah, that's Bruce Lee's teacher. He does the Filipino sticks or something like that." They didn't have the right name or whatnot, but we were real little, and they kept on playing that Bruce Lee sequence over and over and over again. I mean, over and over, like hours. They would play this. So yes, that was a Bruce Lee influence, but it was tied into Dan and Asano. I never thought I'd wind up meeting him at your school.
Right.
I never knew that would happen. Like 10 years later.
All right, you just mentioned the word Hollywood, so now you got to tell us another story. You got to tell us the Big Stan story.
Oh, the Rob Schneider days. Yeah, because had these like little, and they were all.
So okay, so let me tell you what I know about it, and then you correct me if I'm wrong. Here's how I put it together. You guys were a security detail for him.
Yes, Darwin Vasse and myself. Yeah, we were.
Okay. Where in LA? What part of the country?
We got hired. The Super Bowl had came to Jacksonville, and they were looking for celebrity security that would keep basically turn a blind eye to certain things, but break up any fights or anything like that. So So they couldn't hire like your standard security officer. So they wanted guys that could break up fights and that could blend in and make because it was celebrity based. It was Maxim magazine. So we
Okay.
got them. We got Rob Schneider and we got NSYNC. And this is when NSYNC was like, whoa, they were like
Huge. Yeah.
huge.
Okay.
And we got those two groups to just to mingle over. So it was real easy. It was real easy work. But then Rob Schneider, because I don't look at so much, but Darwin, you know Darwin, he looks real Filipino, and he goes,
Right, because he said, okay, here's what I heard. He says he points at you. No, he points at Darwin, and he says you're full Filipino. He points at you and says you're half Filipino.
Yes, exactly. Yep, that's exactly.
Okay.
That's how that whole thing started. He started talking,
Right,
because we weren't supposed to talk with them. The celebrities that we weren't supposed to intermingle with them. We're supposed to just like be at a certain distance and kind of walk around like that. And
yeah.
so he talked to us, and then he had this idea of this movie, but he said I would only do it if I could have like a real Filipino martial arts master. And he said he wanted to meet Dan Inosanto, because that's who he told him we trained with. And then so I called Guru and I said, Guru, this guy, there's a celebrity who wants to train. And Guru had no idea who he was. Guru didn't know who. I said, this guy Rob Schneider, and I was like, you can do it. And he was like, Guru had no idea who Rob Schneider was. And then come to find out, he said, Kenny, this guy's a comedian. He said, I'm training a comedian. And ultimately that movie, because I worked on, and I'm sure you've done this too. You've worked on like little film things, and you put a lot of time into it, and it's like just this little tiny thing.
Oh, yeah.
Or in Miami, I'm sure you've worked on lots of little film projects, and it's a lot of time, and there's just this little.
We spent I don't know how many hours one night filming a bonfire scene for Only the Strong, and then it lasted like 3 seconds.
I remember that. I was there when you guys were doing that. Ricky and you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was there. And, I remember you took us all to see it. You took us all to see the movie. Yeah, those were good times because I think that our group, we were all a lot tighter. Like I always felt like I had someone, like, I don't want to say like a bodyguard or something. That's a bad choice of words. But I always felt like I had someone looking over me when I was at your place, because I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I was by myself there, and so I always felt like I had like somebody.
Well, Rick, that's Ricky's influence, because he was a lot more nurturing than I am.
Ricky, yeah, Ricky. How is Ricky?
He's fine. I haven't heard from him in a few weeks. He's in Sarasota, but he's real busy. I was half hoping he'd show up in Jacksonville last weekend, because remember he was there a few years ago.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So now, tell me. So are you still in touch with Chris Russell and the Virginia Pinoys?
Just through Facebook. Because everyone has kids now, and so just through Facebook, everyone's you can kind of go, and how life has its like little ruffles, and but everyone's good. Just through Facebook, just keep in contact through Facebook, and But I'm real happy with them. They're doing really well. Chris Regadons is he's doing all kinds of stuff. He's got like a martial arts school. He's got a graphic arts business. So he's like turned out to be quite the entrepreneur, Chris Regadon.
Yeah. Are they all still in Virginia?
I think so. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And Mateo's still doing his thing.
Right. Yeah.
But he's got like children now and grandchildren. Yeah. It's hard to believe.
Grandchildren.
Yeah, it's hard to believe because he looks so young. Mateo looks.
Reyes' grandfather.
Oh yeah. Isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. But he's really good. He's a really good family man.
Oh yeah,
material.
he always has. Yeah, he always has been. You know. Okay, so now after all these years, right? All these years, all these hours spent in training, all this time spent with these incredible martial arts people, what meaning and what role does martial art play in your life today, Friday the 8th of June?
Oh,
What would you say?
it's still everything. I mean, you think that that it would like the martial arts doing it as long as we do, that it would like get old. It actually, that fire just burns bigger and deeper,
Mhm.
and especially when you start getting like limitations, health,
Yeah,
age, and all those things start to, like, you have all these hurdles, and then
yeah.
so then you become more like cerebral. Then you start to, like, you get real creative up here, but the body might not want to do it. And
Well, yeah.
but I mean, I couldn't imagine not having martial arts, like infused in me, because the the mindset
Yeah.
of staying positive, and keeping towards goals and things of that nature.
If I don't ask you this question, then all of the diehard Jeet Kune Do people who watch this show will be upset with me. So you got to answer this. And again, I didn't give you any time to prepare or
That is
whatever.
fine. Ask away.
Okay, what what does Jeet Kune Do mean to you?
Flow and balance. Flow and
There you
balance.
go. Okay.
If you can know is flow and balance. So I think the modern term, I mean, and you could probably to relate to a lot of these things, because we've had a lot of similar.
Yes.
You can have the 500 students and the top of the line car, but then the home life could be, you know.
Right.
So, but to find balance in life, I think that's a pretty tricky thing to obtain. And
Yeah.
if you can do that, then more power to you. If you can keep everything uh, balanced. So when I think of
Mm-hmm.
Jeet Kune Do, because you know how Jeet Kune Do, it gives you uh, fluidity with kicking,
Yes.
fluidity with punching, fluidity with trapping, and fluidity with grappling, and to balance
Yeah.
those out. And so when I think of Jeet Kune Do, I think of like life's trying to stay balanced.
Is is that what attracted you to JKD in the beginning?
Um, I think like everything with Jeet Kune Do, I like that I love acronyms. I love all the little acronyms,
Yeah.
and then that it was organized, and, and like I said, like my brother was, Kevin was such a, he was an Olympic hopeful in boxing, and
Right.
coming from that, I mean, elite level boxing compared to a good Jeet Kune Do instructor. The good Jeet Kune Do instructor is way more organized with material, subject
Mm-hmm.
matter, and techniques as far as a progressive curriculum than the
Yeah.
elite boxing coaches.
Yeah.
Nothing against the boxing coaches, because they have a unique talent of finding the right person and making a champion and all that. So, but as far as like organizational skills of a teacher, the Jeet Kune Do teacher is, especially the way we've been taught through Guru Dan. He gave
Yeah.
us like this loose form fitting mold, and said, "Here it is. Keep within this and
Uh-huh.
make it work." And
Yeah.
so, and
You know,
you've done a really good job of that, because you're, man, I remember your school, like when I started, was like there was like 15 students, and then at one time there was like hundreds of students, and so you've done a good job of managing curriculum, and
oh,
and producing good students. And sometimes it's the student, like I said, the student becomes your own competition, but that every time they grow, a piece of you grows too.
right. Yeah.
So
That's a good way of looking at it. Um, did you ever hear the story about what's his name? Randy Jackson. Randy Jackson, the music producer. Did you ever hear the story about Inosanto training him for Olympic boxing? Do you know that story?
No, I know the story about of a music talent, but I don't know if it was I don't know if he was training for I don't
I
know what he was
think,
training
think
for.
yeah. I'll have to research that for another time. I thought maybe you might have heard that boxing story. All right, so what so the guys from Jacksonville come down and train with you in Tampa on a weekly basis. That's what you're doing, or what is this jkdcollegeonline.com?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to build right now is to do the
Okay.
it's the JKD experience. And that's what I'm
Okay.
building right now so that the guys in Jacksonville have access to baseline information. And then that
Got it.
way they can find someone that doesn't have to be me. It could be you. It could be one of the guys from up there. And
Yeah.
basically, here's the foundational information, and here's the instructors that I'm friends with. So
Okay.
if this is what interests you and you're in this area, go see person A, B, or C.
Right. Okay.
And
All right. So that's what keeps you busy
yeah,
nowadays.
see that?
Uh,
I do everything like in real big bold, like big. I whiteboard everything. I don't think you can have enough whiteboards. If it was
that might
I'd whiteboard the whole house. And
that must be a Filipino thing because those look like Dan Inosanto charts.
yeah, I got the idea from him.
Yeah.
It's nice to see things real big because you can check them off.
Right.
Your
Yeah.
checklist, if it's like in big letters, it's like staring right at you. You can check it off.
All right. Okay. So let's finish up with this. Last weekend seminar, right? Neither of us will know what number seminar that was, right?
Oh.
But were there any standout moments over the weekend that you can think of?
Oh yeah, well yeah, that's an easy one for me because my parents were there and mom had met
they're so cute
through you way back then and then a couple of times and so and they've like have sent like holiday cards once twice throughout these 25 years or whatever it's been.
Yeah.
And we just found out that Illustrissimo, because mom is from this tiny island off of Cebu, but they always just say Cebu. They don't say Bantayan Cebu, which is this tiny island. Illustrissimo is actually from that same tiny island that my mom's from. And we just found that out this weekend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
And I'm a big Illustrissimo fan. And to find out that Illustrissimo was actually from that same little tiny island, Bantayan Island, Cebu, I was like, oh my gosh. So that was a standout moment. And of course, I think there was like a good energy there with amongst the. It was really hot. It was really hot. but the crowd, like it was good to see Levon and Lee Peacock. Brian Garona, I don't want to leave anybody out. Jay Mateo, all those that core group of people. Yeah. It was really nice to see everybody, and everybody was just kind of meshed. Tim Estrada, gosh, I'm gonna forget.
Yeah,
I hate when I start naming names and then I forget.
Anytime that I see Dickie Harrell.
Oh my gosh, he's amazing, isn't he?
Right, I'm tuned in. Anytime I see Dickie Harrell, because I can remember being a kid in Barbados and looking in a black belt magazine and seeing Inosanto, Hartzell, and Dickie Harrell in this magazine.
Yeah.
So
he's amazing to keep doing what I know. I see, and he's another one that I've seen throughout the years, and it took me a while to figure out like exactly,
like who he was. Yeah.
And come to find out, man, this guy's been training forever.
And that's because he looks exactly the same.
I know. He hasn't changed since I seen him. Like the first time I seen him 20 years ago, he looks the same. He's always so nice. He's always so nice and kind.
Yeah. Well, see, so we know these people because we're Jeet Kune Do insiders. that's one of the purposes of the Jeet Kune Do dialogues, is to be able to get all these guys ultimately on camera with me and hear their stories. I mean, can you think of the Larry Hartzell stories that Dickie Harrell will have?
Oh, I bet he'd have some good. You know what? That's funny you mentioned Larry Hartzell, because when I sent when Kevin was involved, he would he very rarely trains these days, but when Kevin was training with me, I sent him to Eric's for 2 weeks, and he said, Kenny, Eric made me train with this old guy, and he punched me right in the nose. And I said, who are you talking about? And he didn't know the name. Eric Eric's such a sweetheart. When he would go do his private, he would pay for my brother to have a private with Larry Hartzell. My brother didn't know who Larry Hartzell was. And so my brother had like a week of privates with Larry Hartzell at Larry Hartzell's garage. And I think Eric did that to keep Sifu Larry moving, and because he was old at the time. And anyway, it was funny that you said because I never got to do that. I always wanted to train with Larry Hartzell. I only trained with him once, and Kevin trained with him like 7 times privately.
Yeah.
So I would like to hear those stories too.
Yeah, I never trained with him privately, but on seminar a lot. In LA, in Michigan, in New York. But I like to say that he left me alone because he was afraid that he would break me in two because I was so skinny back in the day.
That's
So listen, so okay, it's been a pleasure getting together with you on the Dialogue Show, Kenny.
Hey,
I really appreciate it.
You know what? I think the world of you, Sifu. I mean, you've been such a big, strong, powerful. I don't want to sound hokey, but there was times in Miami, and you know what I'm talking about, where I was all by myself, and you were the only person there to keep me going. It was you, and I know you don't get the credit that you deserve for the impact of Jeet Kune Do, for the impact you've made on the Jeet Kune Do community in the state of Florida. You've made a huge impact in many people's lives, not just mine.
I appreciate that, man. All right, so that's it. Thanks again, Kenny Barry. Right now, everybody's caught up with you. Everybody knows what's going on.
yeah, and then now watch the Jacksonville guys. Then they'll go on this show, and everyone will have a cool story to tell you, and you can compile a whole list of like cool stuff.
There you go. All right. Okay. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in and listening to Kenny Barry and I wax effusive about our Jeet Kune Do experience. Next week, I will be in Barbados. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do another episode of the dialogues from Barbados, but the following weekend, we're going to be with Ron. I don't want to mess up his name. I think it's Kowakowski or Kosakowski. I'll have his name perfect by the 22nd of June. So tune in then, 3 p.m., Friday the 22nd of June, for the next episode of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues. Kenny, thanks again.
Thank you, Sifu. Thank you for everything. Right. I appreciate you.
Everybody else, take care.
All right, take care.